Some coins look ordinary, but a few are worth life-changing money. Today we reveal the top 3 most ultra-rare UK and USA coins, treasures hiding in plain sight, with shocking values reaching into the hundreds of thousands and even millions. Don't blink, you could miss a fortune. Some of these coins have sold for an incredible $66,457, others for $78,455, and the rarest examples have shocked collectors with prices as high as $90,665. This is not just a story about money, it's about history, luck, and the thrill of the hunt that makes coin collecting so fascinating. The year was 1976, America's 200th birthday. Across the country, people were celebrating the Bicentennial, waving flags, watching parades, and lighting fireworks. To honor this historic moment, the United States Mint released special coins with brand new designs. The Kennedy $half-dollar was one of them, with the usual eagle on the back replaced by a picture of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the very building where the Declaration of Independence was signed. To make it even more special, the date on the front was shown as 1776 to 1976. These coins were minted in huge numbers in both Philadelphia and Denver, with the Denver coins carrying the Little's D to mint mark. Millions of these were saved by people as souvenirs, but hidden among all those coins were a few mistakes, the rare error coins that would later become worth tens of thousands of dollars. So why would one $half-dollar be worth less than $1 and another be worth close to 90,000? It all comes down to mistakes made at the mint, and collectors call them errors. Sometimes the dies, which are the metal stamps used to strike the coins, were not lined up correctly or had imperfections. This led to doubled images, where the letters and numbers look like they have a faint shadow or second line. For example, on the 1976 AD Kennedy half, you can find doubling on the words Liberty or In God We Trust. These double dies are rare, and collectors will pay thousands for them, especially if the coin is still shiny and in mint condition. Another type of error that happened in 1976 is the off-center strike. Normally, the coin is perfectly centered when pressed, but sometimes it shifted, leaving one side blank or part of the design cut off. The more dramatic the shift, the higher the value. A simple off-center might bring a few $100s, but a huge off-center strike in top condition can bring $20,000 or more. Imagine a coin that looks like it was printed crooked, and suddenly it's worth a fortune. The most valuable errors of all are the wrong planchet strikes. A planchet is the blank disc of metal used to make a coin. Each denomination has its own size and metal mix, but sometimes the mint accidentally used the wrong one. That means a $half-dollar design might be struck on a quarter blank, or even on a silver planchet meant for $1. These wrong metal strikes are incredibly rare, and when combined with the special Bicentennial design and the Denver mint mark, the results can be breathtaking. Coins like this have sold for $66,000, $78,000, and nearly $91,000. That's the kind of life-changing find every collector dreams about. Condition also plays a big role in value. A coin that's scratched, worn, or dirty might only bring a small amount, even with an error. But a coin that has been carefully preserved since the day it left the mint, still shining with its original luster, can be worth many times more. That's why professional grading services are so important. They check the condition, confirm the error, and place the coin in a protective case. When collectors see a rare 1976 AD-era Kennedy $half-dollar in high grade, they know it's the real deal, and the bidding wars can get intense. Another special twist comes from the type of metal used. Most of the 1976 AD $half-dollars were made from copper-nickel clad, but a few were struck on silver-clad planchets by mistake. These silver error coins are much rarer, and when found in mint condition, the value goes through the roof. The difference in weight and shine gives them away. A normal clad $half-dollar weighs about 11.34 grams, but the silver version will weigh differently and look brighter. If you ever see a 1976 AD $half-dollar that feels heavier, or looks shinier, you might want to have it tested. You could be holding a treasure. Stories from auctions show just how crazy the market can get. One 1976 AD-era Kennedy half sold for over $66,000 at a major auction house. Another with a dramatic planchet mistake went for nearly $78,500. And the most shocking sale of all reached almost $91,000, a record that left collectors speechless. Imagine starting with a 50-cent coin and turning it into the value of a luxury car. That's the power of rare errors combined with history. The best part is that these coins are still out there. Millions of Bicentennial Kennedy half dollars were saved in jars, drawers, and coin collections across the country. Many families kept them just for their unusual design, not knowing they might have an error coin worth tens of thousands. That means if you search through rolls from the bank, old coin collections, or even your parents' or grandparents' keepsakes, you still have a chance to find one of these hidden gems. Every collector dreams of being the person who discovers a coin with doubled letters, a crooked strike, or a wrong metal planchet. So what should you look for if you want to find one of these treasures? Start by checking the words on the front. If they look doubled or blurry, you might have a double die. Next, look at the design placement. If it seems shifted or missing on one side, it could be off-center. Then, check the weight and shine of the coin. If it doesn't match the normal copper-nickel look, it could be on a silver planchet. Any of these signs could mean you're holding a coin worth far more than 50 cents. The 1976 A.D. Kennedy half dollar is not just a piece of change, it's a piece of American history. It carries the story of the nation's 200th birthday, the pride of the mint's bicentennial designs, and the lucky mistakes that created priceless treasures. For collectors, it represents the ultimate prize, turning an everyday coin into something that can change lives. That's why people keep searching, and why excitement around these coins has never faded. Millions of these coins were made and people used them every day without thinking much about them. Most of the coins were normal and today they are worth only face value. But a few of them had mistakes made at the Royal Mint, and those mistakes created what we now call error coins. These error coins are very rare and collectors around the world are willing to pay huge amounts of money to own them. Imagine a coin that is only 2 pence in value selling for the price of a house or a luxury car. That is exactly what has happened with the rare 1971 era 2 new pence. Some of these coins have sold for $65,000, $73,000, and even up to $84,000. The thought that a small coin could bring that much money is almost hard to believe, but it is true, and it is why so many people check their old coins very carefully. The mistakes that make these coins so valuable can be different types. Some coins were struck off-center, which means the design is not in the right place. When you look at the coin, you might see part of the design missing or pushed to one side. Other coins were struck twice, which is called a double strike. This means the words or pictures on the coin may appear doubled or blurred. There are also coins made on the wrong piece of metal called the wrong planchet error. For example, a 2p coin might have been struck on a blank made for a 1p coin, which makes it smaller or a different color. Sometimes the design is not lined up correctly on both sides, which is called a die rotation error. All of these strange details turn a normal coin into something collectors are desperate to buy. The reason these coins are so valuable is not only the mistakes but also the year 1971 itself. Because it was the very first year of the new decimal money system, coins from this year are already special. Add an error to that and you suddenly have a piece of history that is unlike almost anything else. Collectors know how rare they are, and when one shows up at an auction the price goes higher and higher as people bid against each other. It is amazing to think that for most people the 1971 2 new pence was just change in their pocket. They bought candy, newspapers, or bus rides with it. Nobody thought that decades later some of those same coins would be worth tens of thousands of dollars. This is why stories about people finding rare coins in jars or boxes at home are so exciting. Imagine finding one in an old purse or in a collection passed down from a family member. That one little coin could change your life. When you look at a 1971 2 new pence, the first thing is to check the words on the coin. It should say new pence and not just pence, because the wording was changed later in 1982. If your coin says new pence and it is from 1971, then you have the right year. Next, look very closely for mistakes. Is the writing doubled? Is the design not centered? Does the coin look too small or too big? Does it feel lighter or heavier than normal? All of these can be signs of an error coin. Because these coins are so valuable, it is always best to have them checked by a professional coin expert or grading service. They can tell you if what you have is a genuine error and how rare it is. The better the condition of the coin, the more money it can bring. A shiny coin with little wear is always worth more than one that is scratched or damaged. Some coins are found in near-perfect condition because they were saved in collections right from the start. These are the coins that bring the highest prices at auctions. Collectors are not only buying these coins for fun but also as an investment. Rare coins often grow in value as time passes, especially when there are only a few examples known. The 1971 era 2 new pence is one of those coins. There may only be a handful in the entire world, which makes each one very special. People with deep pockets are willing to pay whatever it takes to own one because they know they may never get another chance. Think about this. A regular 1971 2p coin is worth almost nothing, maybe a few cents to a collector. But an era version is worth tens of thousands of dollars. The difference is like night and day. This is why people love the hobby of coin collecting. It shows that even something small and ordinary can turn out to be priceless. There are stories of people who found one of these coins by accident. They may have kept it for years without knowing what it really was. When they finally brought it to a coin dealer, they were shocked to learn its value. One man discovered his coin was worth more than his car. Another saw his coin sell at auction for over $70,000. Stories like these make everyone want to check their change more carefully. So the lesson is simple. Never ignore old coins, especially from important years like 1971. Look closely because you never know what you might have. That small coin hiding in a drawer could be your ticket to a fortune. The rare 1971 era 2 new pence is proof that treasures are still out there waiting to be found. In the end, the excitement is not only about the money but also about the history. When you hold a 1971 2 new pence, you are holding the start of a new chapter in British money. When that coin has an error, you are holding a mistake that slipped past the mint and survived for more than 50 years. That is something truly special. Collectors know this, and that is why they are ready to pay such huge amounts. The year was 1976, a big year for America because it marked the 200th birthday of the country. To honor this huge event, the United States Mint decided to do something different. Instead of the usual eagle on the back of the quarter, they gave it a brand new design. It showed a colonial drummer boy standing proud with his drum, reminding everyone of the soldiers who fought for freedom during the Revolution. On the front was George Washington, like always, but under his neck, instead of the usual date, it showed 1776 to 1976. This was a one-time design made only for that special year. Tens of millions of these quarters were struck, and most people saw them in their change, used them to buy groceries, or tossed them in a jar. To this day, most are only worth face value. But here's where the story gets exciting. When coins are struck, sometimes things go wrong. The wrong metal planchet might get fed into the machine. That means a quarter design could end up being stamped on a nickel planchet, or even on a silver planchet from another coin. Imagine a bicentennial quarter made of the wrong metal. That would instantly be rare. Collectors pay huge amounts for such mistakes. Other times, the coin might be struck more than once by accident. This creates a double image, where the drummer boy looks doubled or the lettering is shadowed. These double-struck errors are very sought after. Then there are off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing. And we can't forget proof coins. Proofs are special coins made for collectors, with shiny mirror-like fields and sharp details. But sometimes, even proofs come with errors. A bicentennial proof quarter with a striking mistake, or one made on the wrong metal, could be worth a fortune. And here's another twist. While most bicentennial quarters were made of copper and nickel, the mint. Over the years, some of these rare errors have made it to auction, and the prices shocked even longtime coin experts. One sold for over $85,000. Another reached nearly $100,000. Think about that for a moment. A coin worth $0.25 selling for the price of a new luxury car or even a small house. That's why collectors are obsessed with these errors. They are not only rare, they are also tied to a major moment in US history, the 200th birthday of the nation. That combination of history, rarity, and beauty is what makes the bicentennial era quarter so special. Now, here's the part that makes this story exciting for you. These coins are still out there. Yes, many have already been found, but millions of bicentennial quarters are still sitting in jars, old rolls of coins, or even in pocket change. Every day, people spend them without realizing what they are holding. And if you know what to look for, you might be the lucky one to find one of these treasures. Think about it. Millions of bicentennial quarters were struck and sent into circulation. Many people saved them because of their special design, and a lot of them are still sitting in drawers, jars, and boxes across the country. It is very possible that some of these rare era coins are still waiting to be found. You could pick up a handful of change at a store, look closely, and discover a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. That is what makes this hobby so exciting. If you come across a 1976 bicentennial quarter, take a careful look at it. Check if the design looks off. Does it seem like it was struck twice? Is the image not centered? Does it look like it was struck on the wrong type of metal? You can also weigh the coin, because silver quarters are heavier than the normal copper-nickel ones. Even if you do not see an error right away, do not ignore it. Sometimes the smallest detail can mean the difference between pocket change and a fortune. Collectors love the bicentennial quarter because it is more than just a coin. It represents a moment in history when the country came together to celebrate 200 years of freedom. The drummer boy design is iconic, and for people who lived during that time, it brings back powerful memories. That alone makes the coin desirable. Add a rare mint error on top of that history, and you have the perfect storm for high value. History, rarity, and collector demand all mix together to create prices in the tens of thousands. What makes this story even more fun is the thought that some of these coins are still out there in the wild. Every time someone spends a bicentennial quarter without realizing what they had, they might be handing over a fortune to the next person. That is why coin collectors always say check your change. You never know what is hiding in plain sight.